What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here, back again with another video. Today's video is going to be about the Russell Westbrook debacle. The debacle that was his exit interview. Now, it's obvious that, let me point this out first. Russell Westbrook will not be back in a Laker uniform next year. And as a Laker fan, I am happy to say that is the likely outcome, especially after this press conference. Russell Westbrook went scorched earth on everybody, particularly Frank Vogel. He even took some pot shots at LeBron and AD. But the one thing that Russell Westbrook did not do, just like always, just like the majority of his pressers, his post-game pressers, he took no responsibility. He took no accountability for his terrible play, all around terrible play this past season for the Lakers. So, seeing Russell Westbrook depart the Lakers for me is it's a victory. It's a silver lining in this situation. The silver lining in what was the most horrible season in Lakers history, in my opinion. Seeing Russell Westbrook leave it's addition by subtraction, and you're gonna get the guy who is probably the worst NBA player right now. You're gonna get him out of LA, which is a good thing. Russell Westbrook will be out of the NBA soon. He is on a very, very steep decline. His skills are clearly declining. Everything that he has accomplished in the league so far, none of it has come with winning. And when you play for a team like the Lakers, when you play for one of the blue blood sports franchises, Lakers, Yankees, Cowboys, whatever it is, their fans do not care about your individual stats. Now, it's good to some degree, right? It's good to see when you have guys from your favorite team win MVP, with their all-stars, all-pro, whatever it is, right? It's good to see that, but normally when that happens, that accompanies winning. But winning is the major thing that you want to see your team achieve. It's not about the individual stats. And there was Russell Westbrook kind of foreshadowed this earlier in the season after one of his post-game pressers. He said that Laker fans want him. Laker fans want him to basically go out there and run his numbers up, right, and get triple doubles and all of this crap that he said, right, which could not have been further from the truth. Laker fans wanted him to stop turning the ball over, stop taking bad shots that he knows he's not going to make. Statistically the worst three-point shooter among point guards. This year, he was 65th, so he was second to last in field goal percentage by point guards. Terrible from the free throw line. I think he's like 60-something%. Again, that's not great for a point guard. The ball's in your hand most of the time. So what he said could not have been further from the truth, especially for Laker fans. Laker fans wanted Russell Westbrook to play to his ability, right? Not play past it, not play, whatever. And by playing to his ability means use his skills, right? He still has a lot of athleticism. Even though he's not as athletic as he once was, he still has a lot of athleticism. So Laker fans wanted him to use athleticism, get to the hole, find open teammates, and ultimately lock in and give effort on defense as well, too. But none of those things happened. Russell Westbrook continued to play badly, continued to blame other people for his bad play. He had a lot of smoke for Frank Vogel, which really didn't make sense because Frank Vogel was the guy who kept him in the starting lineup. There was a lot of stuff coming down from the front office. And this was just last month, the beginning of last month, right? You're going down the stretch run of the regular season. There was reports that came out that said that Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, they wanted Russell Westbrook to come off the bench, and they wanted Frank Vogel to start, somebody else. Now, it was heavily suggested, but it wasn't, required of Frank Vogel. So Frank Vogel kept Russell Westbrook in the lineup. He didn't want to lose him. he didn't want to lose him mentally because he knew what coming off the bench would have meant to Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is a guy, he wants his minutes because he wants to put up his stats. But ultimately, that's all Russell Westbrook cares about is his stats. And again, going to the post-game press conferences, he foreshadowed this all season long. He talked so much about his stats and his stats and his stats, and he did not talk enough about winning. And him playing good games, and getting his stats up or getting triple doubles or whatever, like he was okay with that. And even if it came with the loss, he was okay with it. He was fine. But that type of mentality, excuse me, that type of mentality is clearly what he had this season. And to be quite honest with you, it's probably what he's had his whole career. He's put up the stats. He's gonna go to the Hall of Fame, triple doubles, yeah, whatever, blah blah blah. None of that has come with winning. He's been to the finals one time, and that was with KD and James Harden when they were younger. The young and up and coming Thunder. But that was way back in 2012. This is a whole 10 years ago. So Russell Westbrook has not been back to the finals since then, and I think he's only won one playoff series since since Kevin Durant left him in Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook is on the losing end of 5 or 6 playoff series. And he has been one of the main contributors on those teams. So it goes to show that his stats absolutely do not go towards team success. Those are individual statistics. He's won an MVP and all that stuff. It's all good and great. But he won an MVP and his team got bounced in the first round that season. His stats do not accompany winning whatsoever. So having him on a team that is expected to win really does nothing. Really does nothing at all. You might as well bring up a G League guy because he's gonna get his stats and stuff. But what does it do in the grand scheme of things? And the Lakers had to learn this lesson the hard way. LeBron, AD, they pushed for the Russell Westbrook trade. They had to learn this lesson the hard way. So it was a tough season, but this is going to pass over, and hopefully the Lakers can get everything together, get the front office together, be able to put together a good enough team next year. There's not a lot of cap flexibility. There's going to be a lot of open veteran minimum contracts and all that stuff. I don't know how good of a team they're going to be able to put together, but again, addition by subtraction. Russell Westbrook out of the picture, would be a win for the Lakers at this point. And as far as Westbrook goes, like I said, he will not be in the NBA for much longer. He is due $47 million next season, which is going to be, probably the worst contract in the league, between him and John Wall. John Wall's not even playing right now. But Russell Westbrook and, John Wall's contracts are really albatrosses around teams' necks. So the Lakers really have to do their due diligence, try to get the best package you can for Russell Westbrook if you even are able to trade him. There's been reports of several teams that might be interested in Westbrook. You can't really. I won't believe it until the trade is actually gone down, until it's actually announced or whatever. But as of right now, it's just all speculation. So we'll see what happens with that. If the Lakers do trade him, whatever team he goes to, I've seen Indiana come up as a player. I've seen Charlotte come up as a player. Other teams who are looking to, sort of rebuild and get rid of, big contracts on their books. They're gonna be willing to take Russell Westbrook's $47 million for 1 year in order to dump 3 and 4 year deals that other guys have. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be a difficult task for the Lakers to actually have a successful trade, without throwing in a bunch of draft compensation as well. But at this point, you just got to get the man out of town. And just like I said, I don't think Russell Westbrook will be in the league after next season. And it's possible too, that he might not even be in the league next season. He might get John Wall next year. He could opt into his deal, and whatever team he's on can tell him to stay home, and they can pay him his money. They owe him 1 year's salary. They can give him his salary and tell him to stay home, and then he will be a free agent after that. And then at that point, what does he do? He is if there is going to be a team interested in him, it's veteran minimum, and you're going to come in and you're going to be a role player. But Russell Westbrook does not see himself as a role player at this point in his career, which is kind of crazy. But hey, some guys don't age well, and like I said, the Lakers have learned their lesson with this stuff here. All of these older guys, these older superstars, unless guys have humbled themselves, unless they've gone through the Dwight Howard phase, the Carmelo Anthony phase, unless guys have done that, you cannot bring aging superstars to LA, because it is just a bigger market for these guys to think that they are, on the level of a franchise player when they're not. When in turn, you just need them to do, maybe a few specific things, and that's it. But Russell Westbrook doesn't see himself as a role player yet. He's very defiant, clearly defiant. He's combative with the media, combative with fans, obviously combative with the coaching staff this past season. So his decline, unless he humbles himself, his decline is going to continue. And like I said, it's steep, and he's, the way down is going to go much faster if he's not able to humble himself, because nobody really wants to deal with him. There are no championship teams. Think about all the teams in the playoffs right now. What team in the playoffs would want Russell Westbrook on their team? And not just even in the starting role, but in the bench role. Who would want him on their team? Right? I don't see any team that would want him. Any good team that would want him. And the teams who are not in the playoffs, you look at, the younger teams who are building. You look at a Cleveland Cavaliers. They're building. Even Oklahoma City, where he played at before, they're building too. They have a bunch of draft capital. They have some young players, some young pieces that they like, and they have some guys who they want to get, minutes. They want to get them seasoned, and hopefully build a contending team down the road. Maybe in 2 or 3 years. Russell Westbrook doesn't fit into those plans. You bring in a guy with the name recognition that Westbrook has. He's going to come in. He's going to take a bunch of shots. He's going to score a bunch of points. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, and he's going to hinder the growth of the young players. So there's not really a great situation that I see for Russell Westbrook. If he is fortunate enough to get, on a team like the Indiana Pacers that are rebuilding or whatever, maybe they do, maybe they do have him play, and maybe they do, have him go out there and be able to sell tickets and stuff. But even that, for 1 year and you're gone, I don't know, man. I really just don't see his future being bright, the way that he is right now. But like I said, only time will tell. We'll see what happens. But I thought his press conference was a disaster the other day. I don't think that he has gotten it yet. He doesn't get it. He's defiant. He is I seen somebody describe it as defiantly delusional, and that's pretty much what he is at this point right now. He's delusional about his abilities. He's delusional about what his perception in the league is, and he's just delusional about what his future is going to be as well too. Especially with the attitude, the lack of humility, and the lack of coachability that he is showing at this point in his career, which is clearly on the downslope. But I thought it was interesting. Just a few quick thoughts from a Laker fan, an unbiased Laker fan, but just watching the season play out the way that it did. This was clearly a mess, and this is I'm in no way, shape, or form blaming Russell Westbrook for everything, but to add this type of toxicity and vitriol on top of what was already probably the worst season in Lakers history, you're not doing yourself any favors. So at this point, I can't wait for the guy to leave LA. Good luck to him, good luck to his family, whatever. But he's got to go. He's got to go. And the Lakers got to rebuild, and they got to do it fast. They got to do it really, really quickly. So, but that's just a few of my thoughts, guys. If you like the content, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. Tongue twister. Please consider subscribing to the channel. More content coming out very, very soon. Thank you guys for the support, and until next time.